Right, so I just want to pick up on one thing that may well help you. We're talking about subtracting fractions, okay? And then we want to go into multiplication of fractions, and then eventually we want to go into division of fractions. Now I just wanted to, one of the sheets, and I have mentioned this to most of you already, says about doing a whole number minus a fraction. Okay? Now, fair enough, a lot of you to start with said, okay, well 6 is 42 over 7. Okay? Subtract 2 over 7 is 40 over 7, which becomes 5 and 5 over 7. Okay? Which is absolutely fine. But it's not necessary to do it in that way. Okay, it's not necessary. So, the easier way to do it, you've got to think what fractions are. So rather than just looking them at numbers, fractions are a fraction of a whole. Okay, they're less than a whole piece. So you know a slice of a cake is a fraction of a cake and so on. Right, so, for instance, if I want to take 2/7 away from 6, actually, I'm thinking I'm only going to take 2/7 away from a whole part. So I'm going to split the 6 into 5 plus 1, and I'm going to subtract 2/7. Okay? Now, I think you all know this bit. If I have one whole one and I subtract 2/7 from it, I get left with 5/7. Yeah. So if I take the 2/7 away from just the 1, I get 5/7. So I'm left with the 5 and the 5/7 left over. So I just did that. Okay? Makes sense. So it's actually quite easy now. So if I were to do another one, so if I've got 18 minus 3/9. What can we do? How do we do it? What's the answer? Straight away. You threw your voice amazingly there, and it sounded very different. What did she say?
17 over. Wait, what was it?
Come up with your own answer. Come on. You've already been told the answers.
I know, but I can't remember it.
Then work it out then, that's good. You'll have to work it out. The world at large is waiting. Be on YouTube. Anyone want to help him out? No? You don't know the answer? If I write it 17 plus the 1, and then I do the 1 minus the 3/9, don't worry about simplifying it yet. What do I get? 17 and 6/9, which can simplify to 17 and
3
divided by 3.
1/3.
2/3. Because actually 3/9 could have been 1/3 already. Okay? Now that's a simple, just taking a fraction away from a whole number. Now, the reason why I wanted to do that is because what if we have 5 and 2/3 subtract 2 and 1/4? Okay? So we want to do a subtraction where we've got a whole part and a fraction part. So what a lot of people will do is they'll say 5 minus 2 is 3, so they'll deal with the whole part, and then they'll do 2/3 minus the 1/4. So that's the 5 minus the 2. So how do I do 2/3 minus a quarter? Promise, we're not drawing smiley faces in our book. Stay focused. How do I do 2/3 minus a quarter? First step is to
common denominator.
Make a common denominator. So what would that common denominator be?
12.
12. Okay. So we've got 12 and 12. So it would be how many over 12? So that's times 4.
8.
So we've got
8
8
over
12. And this one times
4. 4 over 12.
So the answer ends up being?
3 and 4 12.
So up here I can say it's 3 and 4 12. So, which can simplify, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment, the simplification bit. I know you can all do that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be
it's
3?
Yeah, it'd be 3.
Oh, it's 3.
Because 3 times 1 is 3 times 1 is 8.
Well done. So that, always check your working. So that should be times 3, so we should have 8 minus 3 is 5 over 12. There you go. Alright? Now that's fine. However, does this method work if I say to you, well, we've got 7 and 1/8 minus 5 and 2/3? Okay. So this is the important phase. We're looking at, do we understand our fractions really well? Alright. So, it's funny, lots of people just scribbling on your book as well. It's a lovely little picture you've drawn there with a clown. Okay. I did say open your books to make these notes. Some people haven't even opened their book. It's great having the video. I've got evidence that can go on YouTube and I'll just send the link to whoever I wish.
Is this like
Yes, it's videoing you.
Like our face? I didn't
Yes.
get permission for that.
It's videoing what's on the screen. Okay. So, with this question, how would I do it? So, shall I go through it with you? So 7 minus the 5 gives me 2. But this time I'm going to do the 1/8 minus the 2/3 is, how do I do it?
8 times
8 times 3 times 3, so that would be 3 over
24.
4, and this would be times 8.
16 over 24.
Which equals
Negative 13 over 24.
good.
Negative 13 over 24.
So here's the issue then. We've got a negative fraction. When we did the subtraction of the fractions bit, we didn't have enough in the left-hand side to make. So just like if you're doing column subtraction methods, you don't have enough in the column, you borrow from wherever, yeah? Got that method? So if you're doing 231 and you're subtracting 58, right? So 1 minus 8 doesn't go, so we take a 10, so that leaves only 2, but we make a 11 minus the 8, and we borrow, don't we?
Yes.
But here's the thing then, so I've got two whole ones, I've got minus 13 over 24. So that minus 13 over 24, well, actually has to come out of the 2 that I have. So what does it become? 1 and... Pardon? 1 and 11 over 24. So we can use that method, okay, instead of having to do the convert everything into top-heavy fractions. Actually looking at each other, doing it to disrupt and not write any notes or anything. Okay, pay attention. Alright, so does that make sense with those?
Yes.
Now, I also wanted to have a look back at the multiplication stuff, okay? The being able to simplify fractions before you do the multiplication. So if I am doing 3 over 8 times 2 over 9, okay, I'm sure you've all heard about cross cancellation. You know how to do it? You've forgotten it. Okay. Talking cross cancellation, because this is on one of your sheets as well. Okay. How do you do it and why do you do it again?
Well, for this one, you would divide 2 by 2. Yeah, and then put a 2 there, or 1, sorry. And then divide to 8 by 2, you get a 4. And then you divide the 3 by 3, and you get 1. And divide the 3 by 3, so you get 3.
So we've then got, this is the same as doing 1/4 times 1/3, which equals 1/12. I don't know why that. What was my question again? 3/8 minus 2/9. Okay? They just run through. So the 8 and the 2 cancel, the 3 and the 9 cancel, and so I can do 1/4 times 1/3. Now, I wanted to mention it because I'll borrow your sheet. Cross cancellation, it works like that. But what if I have one like this? Which is one of the questions on your sheet. Can we cancel before we do multiplication?
Yeah.
Okay, you think you can? Anyone else? Anyone else any opinions? No, you think you can't? You think we can? Jane, what do you think? You don't know? Yes or no, though? Give it a no. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Think you can, yeah? Right, so where people tend to go wrong, is they think it has to be cross cancellation. Okay? But actually, if we think about it, this becomes, over here, 3 times 2 over 8 times 9, and I mentioned this, which can become 2 times 3 over 8 times 9, which is the same as 2 over 8 times 3 over 9. Okay? So I can write the top and the bottom in any order. So it's not just cross cancellation, it's cancelling any numerator with any denominator. We're taking out, what are you cancelling out? So we're cancelling a what? Cancelling the, okay, with the numerator, but what we're finding, I don't know if you've made this link before, you are finding the highest common factor that you can get rid of. That's why you did highest common factors and things. So we are looking for the highest common factors. So what I can do, you see, is 14 I can split into 2 times 7, and 20 is 2 times 10, times 17 over, okay, which is 5 times 5. If I extend that, so now I can cancel any factors that I can, and the only common factor I've got, because 7 and 17 are both prime, is the 2 and the 2. So now I just do that. Okay? So that's what you do when you cross out and say 7 and 10, you're cancelling out the highest common factor. Right, and I wanted you to know that because you've done work on highest common factors and lowest common multiples, and it is about cancelling the highest common factor. Alright?